She got mad. She says,
We'll get it.
Joe,
We'll
why
get.
did
We'll
you?
get into that.
But I said, I basically told her she's not wrong, you know?
Yeah, so Chica was watching the show last night. I played her the excerpts of some of the show, and so Mike, just to kind of fill you in on this, my
I'm gonna get something to drink.
fiance, says that because I'm in East Texas right now, she's from Conroe, which is just outside of Houston. The girls dress up over here. And she goes, why is it in San Antonio all the girls are dressed so casually, all dressed down? She goes, I like to dress up, but I go to San Antonio and everyone's just casual. What's that all about? So it was funny. She said I threw her under the bus when it came to it all. The San Antonio girls have a different energy.
That is true, though.
Did you see my Shut Up Gina shirt came in?
Looks good, Joe.
I'm
It
looking
looks
very
good.
dapper today. Man, I went to go vote today at the Guerra Library. There was no one there, Mike.
No one there?
Crickets. Ghost
Well,
first go. Crickets.
I tell you
man,
what,
like Gina.
man, that Brook Hollow location on 281 near Bitters and Brook Hollow is killing it right now. The numbers that they're posting is pretty remarkable.
Man, Puro Exit 7 needs to show up, man. And you know
Nah.
what? They didn't even give me my I voted sticker, man.
They
said,
ran out,
we
baby.
ran out. I'm like, ran out? Nobody's here? I was the only person there, dude. I swear to you. I was the only one in the parking lot. And I was the only one in there voting.
2 more days of early voting.
Where the dreams don't fade from the river walk nights to the Alamo shade. We rise together through the highs and the lows. Area 210. Oh, it's the life that we chose.
We're rising together on a Thursday morning. My name is Mike Jimenez. That's Joe Garcia. And in the middle is Mike
get it.
Mitchell Jr. making his triumphant return back into the Area 210 podcast, which is powered by P.F. Chang's La Cantera. Again, they have happy hour every day from 6 to 9 there at P.F. Chang's. They do a fantastic job over there. They have brand new drink specials, 8 new drinks for $8.99 all day, every day. Then on Wednesdays, half off bottles of wine, half off bottles of champagne. Again, happy hour from 3 to 6. They do a fantastic job. Go visit Sean Quintero at P.F. Chang's La Cantera. Joe, we have a special guest, Mike Mitchell Jr. in the house. You might remember that name. He was with us a year ago this time, back in October of last year. Mike Mitchell Jr. is the son of my favorite Spur growing up, number 34, Mike Mitchell. Back in the day when there was George Gervin and Gene Banks and Artis Gilmore and Mark Oberdeen and all those guys back in the day. I was at Linton Elementary School pretending that I was number 34, Mike Mitchell, because he had my name, Mike, as well. Mike Mitchell Jr., how you doing today, my man?
Doing great. Thanks for having me back today. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, always.
Yeah, your dad played 7 seasons in the silver and black. I personally believe that his number should have been on the rafters a long time ago, alongside Silas and Johnny Moore. But we're going to talk a lot of Spurs ball with you, get your impression on Project Marvel, all the things that are going on in the city of San Antonio. Speaking of which, Joe, I sent a message to Mike Carlos from the San Antonio Current,
Puro?
asking him, is he not entertained? I sent him the gif of Gladiator. Is he not entertained by the fact that San Antonio and Bexar County yesterday surpassed the early voting from the June mayoral election? Joe, how is it that the arena vote is getting more early votes than what's going to be what it actually was for mayor? More than 10,000 early votes in. Joe, the north side's coming in strong right now. Brook Hollow branch on 281 in Bitters area,
Nice.
784 votes. Joe, they are just killing everybody when it comes to votes. You're having a lot coming in from Stone Oak, from Lions Field over outside of Incarnate Word. Igo Branch, which is over off of Kyle Seal and 1604, coming in with some strong numbers right now. That professor from UTSA said the higher the vote total, the better chance it is for the Spurs to get their new arena. Mike, let me ask you this, man. I'm going to assume, since you are a Spurs fan and you are our Spurs royalty, family royalty when it comes to it all, that you're supportive of the new arena. How confident are you that props A and B are going to pass?
A little worried, only because, I spoke last time about my work. I work at United Way. I work for a nonprofit, and you've got a lot of passionate people who want to see funds spent in different areas. Not sure they fully understand where all that money comes from and can be spent, and not really sure cities as a whole realize the impact that professional sports have on the city. We've got some great examples out there for people to look at, or what happens to the economy of cities when teams leave. And I don't think that people understand that enough. But yeah, you're right. I'm fully biased when it comes to this. I mean, the Spurs literally put food on my table. I'm going to swing that way. I'm going to stay positive and say that we're going to be able to hold on. And I look at it like this. How many teams do you know will put up that much of their own money to get an arena, a new arena built, right?
Exactly. An arena that's going to be owned by the city.
Mm-hmm.
That's the one thing that gets out of it, because they're like, well, billionaires should build their own arena. Well, guess what? Then it'll become their arena, not the city's arena. That's the weird thing. I think that's one spin that people are not understanding when it comes to it all. We could become like the city of Oakland, which lost the Warriors, which lost the A's, and lost the Raiders. I mean, that's just that they had all the sports teams that you would want and need, and it's no longer there. It's a shame. It really is a shame. I would hate to
the
see
biggest
city of San
argument
Antonio.
the biggest argument that's been going on right now, and the hot topic of discussion between the city, the county, the mayor, and what's going on with propositions A and B has been, oh well, you're just helping billionaires get richer, you're just putting more money in their pocket. But the argument that nobody seems to go ahead and like have a clapback for is, they're like, oh, well, you're going to vote yes to proposition B and A or whatever, and you're going to build the arena, and that's just helping them, and you're putting more money in their pockets, and there's nothing, that's no benefit for us. How is that any different between people going to a Target, going to an HEB, or voting to go ahead and get a Buc-ee's or something built in their community? They're still they're putting money in the pockets of millionaires, billionaires, Starbucks. I can go on and on and on. They make the argument for, you're putting money in the pocket of the Spurs. Anytime you buy any product, a good, a service, something, you're putting money into the pocket of billionaires, millionaires. So that same argument can be had, and we can go back and forth all day. But the thing is, it's more than just the Spurs arena, and that's what this ballot is all about. It's focused solely on the Spurs, but it's more about the impact that it's going to have on the city, and everybody fails to realize the bigger picture.
The fact that they don't want to accept, though, and this is a fact, poor people don't employ people. Poor people do not provide jobs. Poor people do not provide the financial things that are needed to improve the roads, that improve the potholes, the things that they care about. It is the billionaires and the millionaires of the world. It is the April Anciras. It is the Red McCombses of the world. It is the AT&Ts, the USAAs. They're the ones that provide the businesses that hire the subcontractors, that hire the small businesses. They're the ones that pump tax dollars into the economy. And to the idea that a public-private partnership for a sports organization that's been as good to us as the Spurs is not needed in San Antonio is foolish. It's foolish, it's uneducated, it's ignorant. And it's one of those things where I look at it and I think to myself, I would never want to see the city of San Antonio without the Spurs. It is part of who we are. It is what we are. It is part of the fabric of being a San Antonian. And one of the things that I was thinking about this, and I want to get your impression about this, Mike. The argument for those who are against Prop A and Prop B has been saying, well, all this does is a hard reset. It just goes back and it's going to be like all the things that Ron Nierenberg, the former mayor, did, just gets thrown out the door and we start from square one again. And now the Spurs could enter into renegotiations with Gene Ortiz-Jones. My question for you, Mike, is this. Why would any of the Spurs owners, the Holtz, the those who own Airbnb, the Michael Dells of the world, why would they want to enter negotiations with Gene Ortiz-Jones? Like, really? I think at that point they go to Plan B, and the Plan B may be something that Spurs fans may not want to hear. What are your thoughts?
I think that there are too many cities right now that would be more than willing to take the Spurs off of our hands, right? More than willing. You've got too much championship pedigree. You've got too great of an organization for these other cities to sit around and say, yeah, that's a problem over there. Let's just stay out of it and let's let San Antonio figure it out by themselves, right? To that argument of people and feeling like kind of what Joe was saying earlier, money just putting it in the hands of millionaires and things. I think the second part of that is if you're a person in the city and you feel strongly that money should be spent in other areas, when you see the plans for the arena, for the city, just make sure that the government, city government, is holding up the other side of the deal, right? Once the arena is built, you want to make sure that they're putting that infrastructure in and around downtown, right? That they're completing the plan. I heard a lot of arguments about, the east side. They started the plan when they built what's now Frostbank, and but they never completed it, right? And you say some of the streets look better, some of the areas look better, some businesses were brought over, but they didn't complete it. If you want them to complete the plan, it's up to us as citizens to stick on them, right? So I definitely would say, political offices are tricky, and when you get in, you're still figuring out who your friends are, who you can trust, who's got your best interests at heart, who is going to try to help you with your agenda. So yeah, no, you don't want to worry about something like this, and it could get lost by the wayside in those attempts to figure out and to find those relationships for Mayor Ortiz. So I think no, you want to let business owners, business people who have been in and around the city doing it for a while figure this out. You want to keep the Spurs here. I love San Antonio. I've been here pretty much my whole life, but I do know that the Spurs are a big draw for us and they help boost that economy. People come in, yeah, we've got SeaWorld and we've got Fiesta Texas, but we've got the Spurs, right?
That's right.
And we want to keep that going.
Joe,
Yeah.
the idea that the Spurs are going to negotiate with Gina Ortiz-Jones after the disinformation campaign that she ran, why would they? These are billionaires. Why would they talk to her at this point? That gets lost in it all. Why would Holt and Dell and all of these guys want to sit across the table from Gina Ortiz-Jones? Why would they want to do it?
There's no benefit in that. I mean, basically, to negotiate a deal to go ahead and have revenue sharing, that's something that doesn't typically happen in other cities with other sporting, let's say, teams, professional sports teams, whether it be soccer, whether it be the NFL or even baseball. I know that Green Bay has a different type of agreement and they might be the odd man looking in, but typically that doesn't happen. If it does happen here, it's going to be something that's going to go ahead and transcend now, that's going to go into other cities. And when they want their new arena, well, San Antonio did it, we want revenue sharing too. And what that does is then it's going to increase the prices of how people are going to ingest basketball, how they're going to ingest their sports, because they got to make up the money some way, somehow. They can't even afford to watch their favorite teams play now. What do they think is going to happen if they have revenue sharing? The money has to go ahead and come from somewhere, so that needs to stop, man.
Yeah, Gina Ortiz-Jones is living in fantasy land when it comes to it all, because the Spurs are a franchise. They are a company, but they're also a franchise, and they're not their own boss. The NBA is their boss when it comes to it all. The NBA could nix any deal when it comes to all that, and that would open Pandora's box, because if the Spurs are giving away percentages of the team to the city, then guess what? Every other city is going to want to have the same deal. Right?
Wouldn't
That's
that be like a
Pandora's box.
landlord, right? It's a landlord, right? A landlord owns a retail piece of land, where they build all these, businesses. They have a strip mall, and the landlord goes and charges these businesses a certain amount of money every month so they can go ahead and pay rent. Now, what if that landlord says, well, on top of the rent, I want you to give me a cut of what you're making too? How does that make sense? It's the same analogy.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense at all. But I want to get Mike's impression on this, though. I was down in the dumps when it came to Prop A and Prop B because of the disinformation campaign that the mayor was running, and the Spurs were slow to react, man. The Spurs did an awful job with PR and all this. They didn't call her out on her crap from the get-go, and they let it get out of control. And I kind of feel, to put it in basketball terms, the Spurs were down 12 points at the end of the first quarter. and now I kind of feel like since halftime, the Spurs are gaining some momentum. How big is it, Mike, in your opinion, for the Spurs going 4-0 to start the season, for the Spurs to be undefeated in preseason, for them to get fans excited about them again, and maybe actually get off the couch and go vote for Prop A and Prop B?
You couldn't wish for any better start to the season if you're the Spurs, right? You've got some key guys out that you want in, because you're trying to figure out. You've added some new pieces, so you want them to gel. But when you're able to sit up there and go 4-0, have a few tests along the way, but also blow a few teams out that have some quality players, you couldn't ask for a better start. Right, you couldn't ask for a better start to get people excited. I remember when we got we got the first pick when we knew we were getting Wemby, and I remember the excitement in the air. It feels very similar, right? You've got some new young guys that are starting out on the team, already looking good, already getting time. They're going to be in an issue pretty soon where they've got to figure out who's getting minutes. I know we talked last year on some of the role players and who's getting. They're going to have to figure something out real soon, but it's on the positive side, right? To keep this going. Do I expect the Spurs to be undefeated in a month or two? No. I just fully, I can't see that happening. Do I see them putting out a quality product already? Yes. Expectations are already going up, and they should, right? They've got a good team.
The Spurs tonight, though, are one of 4 teams in the NBA that are still undefeated.
Mm-hmm.
Spurs are undefeated. The Thunder is still undefeated, and then you've got 2 teams in the Eastern Conference. The Chicago Bulls are undefeated at 4-0, and the 76ers at 4-0. This is going to be the biggest test for the Spurs this season. They have a Miami Heat team coming in that kind of has the Spurs number. And if there's a team that is physically built, I know they don't have Tyler Hero today. Tyler Hero is out with an ankle injury. But they're built to battle a team like the Spurs. Kel'el Ware he gives Wemby fits. May not be as tall as him, but gives him fits. This is a team that has the highest points per game in all of the NBA. Also, one of the best defenses. The Spurs have the best. So you have the best offense in the NBA in the Miami Heat, going against the best defense in the NBA in the San Antonio Spurs. Something's got to give when it comes to it all. Bam Adebayo's on that team. I mean, look at that. It's a battle of the top 3 net rating teams. Spurs plus 15.6, the Heat plus 13.7.
Evenly matched, Mike.
It is evenly matched because the Heat also have a top 4 defense.
Yeah.
The Spurs have one of the top offenses as well. The Spurs also have the biggest point differential in the NBA. This is a really, really good game. My opinion on this game, the Spurs can't do that third quarter stumble like they've done the last couple of games. But other than that, this is a big test for the Spurs. Mike, how do you see tonight playing out?
Games like this, you like to see where your team is, especially early in the season, win or lose, right? Miami, and you brought up a good point. They're supremely good coach, right? They've got a great coach team. They're usually not going to beat themselves. So if you stumble along in the third quarter to start the half and you let them jump out to a lead, they're usually not relinquishing it, right? To your point, normally I would say, you know what, watching the Spurs the way I do any other team, I think they continue to roll and they play well. But especially early on, Miami's a team that's already going to make those kind of adjustments heading in. They're already going to come in with a game plan. I would love to see the aggressiveness that Wemby's shown this year. I'd love to see it to start the game and love to see it right out of the second half. I do know Miami's going to put some physicalness on him. They're going to body him up. But he's shown he's able to play through it in spurts. If his win holds up, I say you go down, make him play down low. He's taken a lot less threes. I love that, actually. But when that defense starts to suck in, take advantage of it. Miami's known to pack that paint. They've been doing a great job this year. When they start doing that, take advantage of it. Really, we'll see if these guys can knock some of these threes down this game, in my opinion. And if they can, I think that the Spurs can win it. But if that 3 ball is not falling after they throw it in, then it's going to be a long night.
Tyler Hero not playing tonight. The veteran guard Norman Powell is the one that's leading the way for the Heat right now. Out of all the names that we talked about, from Adebayo to Kel'el Ware, it's actually Norman Powell that leads the Heat in scoring with 24 points per game. He's also coming in, averaging 7.3 rebounds, 3 assists. It's going to be guard play. Who's going to be the guard that guards him? Is it going to be Castle? Can Castle lock him down? Is it going to be Dylan Harper? And that's also the debate that Joe and I have off air when it comes to it all. I love Stephon Castle. Stephon Castle and Dylan Harper are they're my two favorite players on this team. It's easy to be a fan of Wemby because he's the alien and he's a unicorn and all of that stuff. But I love watching the growth pattern of Castle and Harper. People have given me crap, Mike, because I point out the fact that I believe Harper has a higher ceiling. That I think Castle's going to be a 2 or 3 time All-Star, but Harper is going to be a 6 to 8 time All-Star. Personal opinion. What have you seen from Dylan Harper that is special to you or at all when it comes to his play 4 games into his career?
He's ready. Not only him, but the coaching staff thinks that he's ready. And I tell you, under the old regime, and I know you had some strong thoughts of that before. But a lot of time the coaching staff with these young guys, they bring them along slow, right? Into the game, you'd rarely see them in unless folks were hurt and you only had 8 guys in the lineup. You know, they were going to their starters. Manu, when back in the day, he might have got a chance out there, but typically young guys, they didn't play very much towards the end of the games. They weren't put in clutch situations, and they're already doing that, right? Harper's already getting a chance to show what he can do in some tough situations, and they're trusting it. They're putting the ball in his hands and saying, "Hey, we trust you to make the right play," and he's doing it already, right? I will say I'm always hesitant. Castle's starting the game. He's starting out there. He's playing with the best players that other teams have to offer. Harper's having the luxury of being able to go out with the second lineup, get his rhythm going. That's not to discredit the work that he's doing, right? But at that level, there is something to be said about who's starting the game, who's going against the second team players, kind of getting your groove. But anytime that you're trusting a player in the fourth quarter crunch time minutes, it's showing that the team believes in him, the coaching staff believes in him, and he's already proven he can get it done. He's knocked some big shots down already, made some great plays. I don't know if the Spurs are still undefeated without his play against the Pelicans, right? And just going out there and being able to get it done. So I'm impressed with what I've seen already, but I need to see it for a little bit longer before I can start saying. I get what you're saying. You're looking at the ceilings and you're saying he's got all the tools to have a higher ceiling, and maybe he does, but I want to see it consistently for a little bit longer before I say that. Castle's still a smart guy, and he's always been a cerebral player. He's figuring it out still. He's doing what the team needs him to do. If they say, hey, go score, he goes and score. If they say, hey, there's a guy we need you to lock down, he goes and does it, right? And he doesn't complain. If you say we need a little bit more, he'll try to give you a little bit more. So I say you start off with Castle out there on him, and then you just see how the game's going. The luxury they have is if Norman starts to go off a little bit, you've got guys coming in that you're going to put on him. I even give Keldon a couple chances at him just to bump him and bang him around because Norman's got some strength on him. Let's tire him out a little bit, right? So I think you've got a wave of guys you can throw at him to try to slow him down. That's a luxury to have.
I was going to ask you a question, too. I wanted to ask him a quick question because Mike, again, likes to compare Dylan Harper and Stephon Castle. And he's like, whoa, the ceiling's much higher. Dylan Harper's playing much better than Castle. But the pushback that I have with Mike is Stephon Castle's also playing out of position because you're still dealing with injury. You don't have Fox back in the lineup yet. So that's going to change the complexion of the team as well. I think when Fox returns, you got your point guard already. That's your starting point guard. Dylan Harper at that point, do you keep him in the starting lineup or do you go ahead and take him to the bench, or do you have Stephon Castle go ahead and be inserted into that lineup there in the starting lineup? What do you do? If you're the coach, you have a lot of decisions to still make once Fox comes back.
So whether it's on the basketball, football field, wherever, you got to follow the money first, right? So Fox is going to start when he comes back.
Oh,
right. The question is he going to return to form, or is he going to come out there and be a little lackluster? And then how long do you give him time to round out and get back into form? So Fox is your starter. Harper he's a rookie. He understands he's coming off the bench. But how long do you allow that to go? And then you start creating a kind of a log jam at that point guard spot, right? I don't know if the Spurs even expected Harper to be this good this quickly, right? To where they're having this issue to your point, Joe, where they've got to start thinking who is going to be the guy, who are going to be the best guards that we can put out there on the floor. I think the beautiful thing about all of the guards is whoever ends up with the rebound and when they kick it out and they're kicking it ahead, they've got 2-3 guys they're kicking it ahead to, and they feel confident. Not only can they see what they can get on the fast break, but they can pull it back out and start your offense. You don't have to wait and say, where's the point guard, right?
Yeah.
Switch. If Castle ends up with the ball in his hands, Fox can run out there and be your shooting guard, right? And he'll go get you 30 before you blink, and you don't even know that he's been putting in work that game. So I think it's a great opportunity for the Spurs right now. You throw Son in the mix, and it's like, where is everybody where there are not enough minutes and basketballs on the court for the Spurs when you put everybody back in the lineup.
I wanted to ask you one more question here before we go to Mike again. Wemby deciding to go ahead and play in the paint, and we've seen that right out the gate. Him deciding to finally play inside the paint, I think, is one of the reasons why the Spurs are off to the hot start. Because now that he's playing inside the paint, it allows the other players to do one important thing, play their natural positions. And now you see a balance into the team, right? You're seeing that balance on offense, the balance on defense. The second unit's playing good. Keldon Johnson's looking really good. One of the best defenders the Spurs have on the team now. I think that says a lot when Wemby decides to, you know what? I know I've resisted, but now that he's doing it, I think he's seeing that the fruit of the labor is it's making everyone around him better.
Yeah.
I fully agree with you. When you've got a big that you can depend on, the days of throwing it down there, getting 20, 30 points directly on the block, they're gone. But even at 7 foot, when he's catching it at the free throw line, he puts it on the ground one time, he's at the rim.
Yeah, he's gone. Yeah,
he's gone, right? And teams, you can see them. Whereas before, you were putting that wall up at the 3-point line. Now they're trying to get back in the paint, and they've got guys reaching their arms down. And even at his size, his ability to pass the ball, to see around the court, his unselfishness, and learning when to be a little selfish, right? There are a couple times where in the past, he get into the paint and get bumped, he kind of kick it out. Well, now he's looking and making another move and getting in there. I think it's benefiting the whole team. And I think it'll pay dividends as the season goes on.
Yeah.
And you see him even when he's catching that ball at 30 feet, whereas before you're like, oh, it's going up. You just knew. Now he's catching it and seeing what else he can get first, or seeing who else is open. And I think it's beautiful. And eventually that 3-point shot will still be there. He'll still be able to use it when it's necessary.
Yeah, Wemby right now, currently, according to FanDuel, is the second best odds to win MVP. We've heard from Draymond Green this week saying that this could be a year where the MVP and Defensive Player of the Year is the same person, maybe even most improved player in being Victor Wembanyama. Going back to the whole log jam of minutes, because we've talked about the Spurs being 4-0, potentially 5-0. Let's say the Spurs start the season 6-2, right? And then we have people coming out of injury. It's beyond De'Aaron Fox. It's beyond Jeremy Sohan. Luke Cornett, who played very well the first 2 games before spraining his ankle, is out again tonight. There's so many players out there. Carter Bryant's going to be the one that gets sent to the G League. All right, he's going to be sent out because there's not enough minutes to go around. Kelly Olynyk will probably never play for the Spurs because, as good as he is as a player and as a professional, he's behind the 8 ball when it comes to it all. The Spurs are interesting in the sense that we are now rolling 10, 12 deep on this team of legitimate players, and there's only so many minutes that can go around. Sohan in a contract year, what is he going to get? How much playing time is he going to get? And it's just these combinations of players. Lindy Waters, who's probably the Spurs' best 3-point shooter, has been injured and will eventually get some minutes as well. It's fascinating to see this team, and it's like the next person up. But I will say this. I want to get your opinion on this, Mike. We have been singing the praises of Keldon Johnson, who right now has the NBA best defensive field goal percentage this year. People are only shooting 29% against him. Devin Vassell, to me, those 2 guys are playing the best they've ever played in the Spurs uniform because they've accepted their roles. What have you seen from them?
I fully agree. right? Um, uh, Not so many years ago, Keldon Johnson was the guy for the Spurs, right? To have the mindset to be like, you know what, this team has evolved. This team is no longer what it used to be. My role is not to come out and try to give you 20 and 10 every night. I know I could, right? But I also know that I was doing that, quite frankly, for a bad team, right? Now we've got the chance to be a good team, and I can come off the bench and I can play my role. I can go out there and start with effort on the defensive end and see what it leads to. And when you're looking at Vassell, you're seeing him go out there and mid range, he's starting to remind me of players of old, right? He gets in the mid range and you can just count it. But then he's extending that defense with knocking down the 3-point shot, and you can see him looking to pick up people as he's coming back on defense, right? He's fully bought in, where as before, sometimes he just got lost, quite frankly, on the defensive end from time to time. I think they're really locking in and accepting the fact that it doesn't guarantee a championship this year, but they're building something special. I look at almost like an OKC. Before people out there say that I'm saying the Spurs are on that level, hear me clearly. I'm not saying that they're quite on the OKC level yet, but where they've got that extended depth where they can play 10, 11 players and still be productive, where they're drafting correctly and being able to raise some of these guys. I think that it's a similar formula, right? And it's a similar thing that front office are going to have to figure out who is going to stay in and make us better, and who can we trade out for some other pieces, and then coaching staff's going to figure out night in and night out who gives us the best chance to win the game. Some nights it'll be 3 minutes for some guys that are used to logging 20, right? But who's going to give us the best chance to win tonight? And right now, guys have bought into it. But you just said you've got 3, 4, 5 guys that are going to want their opportunities when they get back from injury, and we'll see if the Spurs can keep maneuvering and keeping everybody happy enough to keep playing hard when they get out on the floor.
What's your letter grade on Mitch Johnson, who currently right now is the favorite to win NBA Coach of the Year according to FanDuel?
So you could see elements before, right? Him making some adjustments, him being able to do things. But I think that cloud, whether it was a positive cloud of Pop or a negative cloud, whichever, I'm not going to say it, right? But you could see he was definitely listening and influenced by Pop. And I know a lot of people were wondering, was that still going to be the case this year? It looks like it's his staff, right? It looks like it's his team. It looks like those are his players out there going. I'm sure he's still taking some counsel from Pop, and why wouldn't you? The guy's won 5 championships, but it looks like he's putting his own stamp out there, and he should be up for Coach of the Year. Now he's got to continue to keep it going. It's super early, but when you take a team that hasn't sniffed the playoffs in a few years and you've got them playing like this, you've got other teams looking like, okay, you know, it wasn't just preseason. This team might be for real. Then you've got to put him in the early season votes for Coach of the Year.
Our chat is powered by P.F. Chang's La Cantera. Lots of comments coming in. We have Jonathan Bettis earlier in the show saying Spurs going for 5-0 for the first time ever. Let's go. Wemby was startled when he heard that the other day, that no Spurs team in history has ever gone 5-0. And it was kind of funny to hear him say, well, let's break that record, man. Let's make that happen. Because he was saying, you mean the 99 team, the 03, 05, 07, the 14 team? None of the David Robinson-led teams that ever had it. No, this could be the first time in Spurs history to go 5-0. JHNSB reaches out to us and says Spurs are losing tonight because Cornette is out. He thinks that Cornette,
El big elote.
the big elote, the big corn. Very nice.
Hey, we do got a super chat we got to address. This one was from Jason Garcia. Came in earlier.
Money talk.
Here comes the money.
And Jason says, dog grito for Mike Mitchell Jr.
Oh,
He wants
very
to go
nice.
ahead and give him the grito for him joining the show today. So let's go ahead and do that for you.
¡Viva México, cabrones!
I love the dog bark at the end. Okay, so Dark Aeons is reaching out to us on our chat powered by PF Chang's La Cantera saying lots of teams are going to look at Jeremy as a rental if we try to trade him. Jeremy Sohan is on a contract season. He's forever hurt. Forever hurt. Hurt his hamstring over the offseason when trying to play for Team Poland. Ended up hurting his wrist in practice a couple weeks before the season started. Hasn't played at all this year. He tends to miss 20 to 25 games per year due to some sort of injury. Spurs are 4-0 without him. That being said, it's going to be an interesting time frame by what the Spurs are doing and what the record's going to be between now and February, now on the rodeo road trip, because that's when the trade deadline is. And there are teams that are buyers, there are teams that are sellers. Do you think the Spurs are going to be buyers around the trade deadline? I mean, if things are going well, and if so, what's the future for Jeremy Sohan? Because, I mean, he's played himself into a bad contract at this point unless he balls out this year.
See, that's the hard part, right? When you've got a Swiss Army knife and you're not a good team, you get to do a little bit of everything. You get to look good, right?
Mm-hmm.
When the team starts to play a little bit better, you've got to kind of hone in, play more of your role. What role does he play? In my opinion, one of the things that was working in his favor was the Spurs needed that kind of enforcer, needed that guy with a little bit of dog in him, get a little bit dirty for you, and he has that, right? He's not afraid to mix it up with anybody, and I love that about him. He can give you some rebounds, he can play some defense. One of the best pick and roll guys I noticed, on the Spurs, right? He was great at rolling to the basket, even at his size. And I love that about him. But how does that work now that you've got legitimate size out there on the court? You've got other guys that maybe don't play the position that he does, can't get out on the floor as far, but you've got serious guys when you're looking at the Twin Towers, our new Twin Towers, putting them in pick and rolls. And I love when they play on the floor together. He will kind of get lost in that shuffle. So it's hard for me to figure out exactly where he fits. I think he's going to slide into be accepting the role, small forward spot in the second lineup. Do you want to continue paying that much for a small forward in the second lineup, right? In today's NBA, I'm not sure, right? He'll play. He can give you play at the power forward spot, small lineups. He can give you some play at the shooting guard, tall lineups. But we know, not trying to offend, he's not the greatest shooter. So where does he slot? He's still, to me, that Swiss Army knife. They're gonna find him minutes because he can play all around the floor. And we will just have to see how he fits, right?
If he goes to the open market, he can garner upwards of $23 million. Is he worth that?
So I'm a pro player, so I have a hard time saying no, right? Because go get your money
Go get
as
your
much
cash.
as you can. Is he worth it to the Spurs right now? I just don't know. And it's not to say that I said earlier, I like his game. I like the way, I love what he added to the Spurs, what he's brought to them since he's came. Didn't like the experiment with him at point guard, but I think that there was a reason the Spurs were doing that, right? Especially knowing that they did not have their future point guard at that point. But other than that, I've loved what he's brought to the team. I think he's a great player. It's just figuring out now where he fits in.
Okay, we're not going to celebrate this, but Joe, go onto my Twitter account. There's video there of Trae Young getting hurt for the Atlanta Hawks. The Hawks still pulled out the victory yesterday against the Brooklyn Nets. They go 2-2, right? We're not going to celebrate this because I believe in karma. I believe in all of that stuff, so we're not going to celebrate
Mike.
it, okay?
You're being nice because Mike Mitchell Jr. here. But if he would have shown this video, Mike, I'm telling you, you know what Mike's reaction was when he saw him go down? Good. That's what he says. Good.
He's doing a Peter Griffin. Trae Young, who is going to have a MRI done today, may have an MCL sprain. He was able to walk off the court, so I doubt it's an MCL tear. But he might miss some time there for the Atlanta Hawks. Why is that a big deal for Spurs fans? It's because the Spurs have their draft pick this year. It's not their draft pick, the right to swap this year. So if Atlanta goes into the dumps because their star player is out, Spurs benefit. That was a brutal hit right there. That was onto the side. It was like a football play right there. We're not celebrating it, but we're letting Spurs fans know the developments going on in the ATL. Mike, your thoughts on all of this?
You just said it. You never wish for a player. Well, I never wish for a player to be hurt when they're out there on the court, no matter who they play for. But it never hurts, especially when you're thinking about trading and draft capital. And it might not necessarily be that you want the high pick and keep it. It might be that you want to package it, right? Or it might be if you do have to say, okay, we have to part ways with somebody because of the log jam. Who can we get in? And it's great when you can get in a player and take some time to develop them, especially a high quality player, right? We didn't wish for it, didn't know it was going to happen. But to your point, Atlanta, over these last few years, they seem to go how Trae Young goes. So if he does spend some time injured, every now and then they've been able to weather a few games with 3-point shooting, but I don't know if they have enough this year. So we'll see. It doesn't look so great for them right now.
Yeah, Brett Siegel of Clutch Points is pointing out right now on Twitter that Kevin Durant had the exact same injury, a knee sprain last year, and he was out for 4 weeks. So we'll see what happens with Trae Young. Hoping for the best for him. And as people are saying, it's Jesse A saying Mike's knees are about to go out as I'm walking down the stairs because I'm bringing up this topic.
I got a topic of discussion for you guys, and I'm going to bring up here.
Yeah.
Before I show you what's happening over here on Bleacher Report, I saw some of the fans. I saw one person here in our chat give the Spurs a letter grade. Now I got to ask you, we're only 4 games in, and you see what the Spurs are doing, how much better the team looks, compared to last year. We're going to go ahead and go with our guest first, Mike Mitchell Jr. Letter grade for the Spurs thus far in the season.
I'm giving them, I'm going to go B+, right? C is if they were just developing where we expected them to, if they were right on track. If I could have said I would call them being undefeated out of the first handful of games, I did not, right? So they're doing a little bit better than I thought. I can't go quite up to A. Always in this league, it's hard to win, but they've had a few, just if I'm being nitpicky, just, I don't think, I know the Pelicans are going to play hard all year. I just don't see them being a very good team. They're going to play hard, but I just don't see them being a good team. There should have been some points where they kept getting on those little 5-6 point spurts and letting them crawl back. I would have been able to give them an A had they been able to just kind of put them aside. So I give them a solid B+.
Because of the ugly games that they had. They were ugly wins, but they were wins nonetheless.
And we'll take it because last year, ugly games ended up as losses most of the time. So that's the sign of a team that's progressing when they're able to win those ugly games.
Case in point, I think that New Orleans Pelicans game. That was an ugly game. And they had to contend with the refs along with, some poor decisions, turnovers, things happened. Game kind of got away, but they got back in it, went into overtime, but they still found a way to win.
Can I say one thing about that too? You said with the refs, why is Wemby not getting superstar calls yet?
That's head scratcher right there. We've seen Giannis. You saw that travel that he had the other day? He took like 6.
My friends keep telling me that this gather thing that he's perfected. I think the NBA needs to take a look at that again. I am like a fan of being able to say, okay, you get a gather step, right? But he has perfected just letting the ball spin in his hand. He'll take 2 or 3 steps, then he'll hold it, grasp it with the other hand. If you are gaining an advantage by doing something and you're moving your feet, you need to call it. I get it. They're not going to call every little travel. If they did, they'd be making it. But he's easily getting an advantage when he's letting that ball spin in his hand.
And then he gets the push off and one.
And he's 7 foot and he's strong. Like, he's got enough tools. Man, call the travel.
It was very LeBron-esque.
Exactly.
That and the tush push need to be revisited when it comes to it. We're joined by Mike Mitchell Jr., son of former Spurs star Mike Mitchell. Here's the thing about it. We talked about giving them a B+. I'd say an A- for me when it comes to letter grade. The inability to come out of halftime with any fire is weird. They come out guns ablaze in the first 2 quarters. Then they take the foot off the gas in the third, and then they light it back up in the fourth. That's been the Spurs' way the past 2 or 3 games. So I will give them an A-. But my question for you, Mike, is this. What is the ceiling for this team? Because it seems like that goalpost is moving a little bit in a positive direction because Vegas had this team as being a play-in team, getting 44 to 46 wins this year. I think 45 and a half was the over-under for the Spurs. That's now moving in the direction of 48 to 50 wins for this team. Do we have to look at this team and think to ourselves, they might be closer to a contender than they are a play-in team, or am I looking at this way too early?
I think the expectation for me now is shifting into I'm expecting them to get into the playoffs, right? And to do that, you have to make it past the play-in. Whereas before, it's like, okay, let's hope that they can get into the play-in this year, right? Before the season started, that was my thoughts. I just hope that they can. And I'm watching elements. I'm not trying to forecast the rest of the season because I know ups and downs, injuries play a huge role in final records for teams. But when you look at this team and you compare them to the West and you start saying who's got a good team, who can they play with? I think this team can play with the Nuggets, right?
Yeah.
When you start looking at the top teams, I think that their construction can give OKC some fits. I still think OKC is a better team. But I think that if they take their foot off the gas, the Spurs can beat them, right? I think they're going to have to play a quality game to come out with the win. So then I start saying in the West, where the West is loaded, do I think that they can compete with the top level teams? I do, right? Before the season, I'm looking at them as, 9th, 8th place team getting in the play-in. Now I look at them as maybe being able to sneak up into 6-5 and go straight to the playoffs. So, yeah, I do think that needle's moving a little bit.
And I think the reason for that is the development of Victor Wembanyama, so that it used to be, how are the Spurs going to match up against a particular team? And it's like, no. With that dude asserting himself down low and looking like the second coming of Akeem Olajuwon with the dream shake, with a little hook shot like Kareem, looking like Ralph Sampson, looking a little bit like David Robinson and Kevin Durant. The question should not be how are the Spurs going to adapt to the opponent. It's how are they going to adapt to the Spurs. It's a different thing, especially when Luke Cornett is out there. I would not be surprised if the Spurs suddenly become a 4th or 5th best team in the Western Conference when it's all said and done. Why not? Why are the Spurs not better than the Clippers, who rely on an injured Kawhi Leonard to play 50, 60 games per year? Why can we not be better than the Lakers, who I know Austin Reeves is going off right now?
But had a game winner last night.
Luka Doncic is getting hurt a lot. LeBron James has yet to play this year. Why can't the Spurs be better than Golden State, who has an aging Steph Curry, who's still great, but is still getting up there in years and at Father Time is undefeated? Why can't the Spurs be better than Denver, who isn't as deep as years past? OKC is a different animal. Houston may or may not be a different animal. But I'm looking at it and I'm thinking to myself, they say in football, any given Sunday. I don't think any given night the Spurs can go toe-to-toe with a lot of these teams simply because they have the best player on the court. That's just why. Talking to Mike Mitchell Jr., Joe Garcia producing today's show. He's also our co-host here at the Area 210 podcast, powered by P.F. Chang's La Cantera. Joe, do you want to go into NBA talk? You want to go into NFL talk, college football talk? I'll let you pick.
Yeah.
UTSA is playing tonight, by the way.
Let me show you the letter grade that Bleacher Report handed out.
Okay.
Because they have a letter grade that they've handed out for every single team in the NBA right now. San Antonio Spurs, they're giving them a letter grade of A+.
Wow.
And the reason why, they said, we obviously have to start with Victor Wembanyama.
Yep.
They said, who could well be on his way to an MVP in his age, of 22. It says, beyond doing something that seems completely new and unfamiliar every game, really multiple times per game, Wemby is averaging 31 points, 13.8 rebounds, 4.8 blocks on 2.8 assists, 1.5 steals, and 0.5 turnovers per game. They said they attributed to playmaking, which is succeeded to the young backcourt, Stephon Castle, Dylan Harper. And that's they go on to say, that they're looking at, Castle, Harper, and how they're going to continue to develop. And of course, Darren Fox, and he's going to come back. How's that going to help the team even get better? But A+, that's surprising to me. Bleacher Report would put him that high. And I think it's maybe they're giving him an A+ early on. It's only 4 games in the season, probably be due to the record, and also looking to see how good they are right now, how well improved they are.
Surprising to me. I mean, I would give the Spurs a letter grade of like maybe an A-, but an A+, I'm like, okay. I'm not going to complain about it. They're talking about the Spurs in a good light as far as the team goes. And Wemby, I'm going to give him his flowers, has looked good coming out of the gate. I just said, everybody's like, well, you need to get on the train. You need to get on the Wemby train here and say that he's generational right now. And I'm like, I just want to see a bigger sample size of what the team's going to look like with him continuing to play like this for 20 games. I just want to see how it's going to pan out. What teams are they going to be able to play and really say like, hey man, look at this team is really good. I just want a bigger sample size, and everybody gets mad at me for it.
Yeah, Joe, the mic and camera kind of went out there for a little bit. So while we fix that, let's go ahead and give some love to our good friends over at PF Chang's La Cantera because they sponsor our show. They have a fantastic lunch special. Joe and I love the lettuce wraps over at PF Chang's La Cantera. Let's give some love to PF Chang's.
PF Chang's La Cantera, San Antonio's premier destination for dinner, date night, or happy hour. Enjoy one of their signature dishes, such as the Singapore street noodles, sesame chicken, or Chang's spicy chicken, or their infamous Chang's chicken lettuce wraps, which are delicious, by the way. You can enjoy all this while you're dining in an Asian-inspired atmosphere. And make sure to enjoy the new outdoor patio and try some of PF Chang's signature cocktails and drinks during happy hour, Monday through Friday from 3 to 6 p.m. PF Chang's La Cantera is a proud sponsor of the Area 210 podcast.
Joined by
All
Mike
right.
Mitchell Jr. Mike, what's your go-to at PF Chang's?
Ooh, right now they have pepper chicken that was
Nice.
newer to the menu, and normally I don't go for spicy. It's not really spicy. It has a little bit of a kick to it. Great dish. And then I do their smoky old fashioned.
There you go. The
No,
smoky old fashioned is the way to go, baby. One of us. One of us.
I told Mike too. It's like if you just want to take the edge off a little bit, that Japanese old fashioned will hit the spot. But a word of caution: you just need the one.
Yeah. Chica was with the my fiance with the lychee martini. She just completely got zonked out after a few of them, man. Maybe not zonked out, but she was feeling good. She was really smiling a lot when that all happened. By the way,
Mike got mad at me because I didn't eat the lychee, the actual
the lychee
fruit itself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had the drink. The martini was quite good. It was one of my favorites. That and the lemon drop martini was quite good as well. But he's like, "Did you eat the lychee?" And I'm like, "No, it looked like a booger, dude. I didn't want to eat it."
Have you ever had a lychee, Mike?
I have not.
Okay, so the lychee martini, it looks gross. It looks like the alien from the movie Alien, right? It just looks like the alien from Independence Day. It just looks gross. Looks like a brain, right? But it's a semi-sweet fruit that you find at a lot of Asian grocery stores. So it looks gross, but it's delicious. Joe, last night Chica made galdo here at the house, man. So I had some good galdo. She made it spicy though, so she was giving me crap because I was pointing out that there was a lot of jalapeno in there. But I'm not used to a spicy galdo, but I was pretty excited about it all. It was pretty good, pretty good. But Joe, you threw her under the bus, man. She called you out yesterday on Messenger.
No, she called you out. She said, "How can you let Mike say that I said, those things about San Antonio women and how they don't get dressed for their man?" Because she says like she gets dressed, she likes to get out. And it's funny because Chica, my fiance, if you ask her what her favorite color is, she says sparkles.
Glitter. Yeah, she likes glitter, anything glitter related. So she likes to get dressed up. Dressed to the nines. We went to a casino in Oklahoma 2 weeks ago. She got really dressed up for it all. And she goes, "What do you mean? I'm just wearing normal clothes." And I'm like, "Well, normal clothes for you is dressed up in San Antonio." So it's kind of funny. So
Yeah.
she makes comments to me sometimes, like we drive to San Antonio, we go back into the city, and she goes, "Why is everybody dressed down? Dress up. Wear boots. She wants people to look like Keldon Johnson walking in and out of the arena. Like to her, that's normal. She goes, she saw Keldon Johnson the other day with a hat and all that stuff, watching the Spurs game. They're showing the pregame as they're walking in. She goes, "I like what he's wearing." She's a rural gal, so she enjoys the cowboy Keldon look. Joined by Mike Mitchell Jr. Joe, people know that I have an affinity for LSU football because my daughter graduated from LSU honors, and they fired Coach Kelly the other day.
Yeah, they gave him a shine box.
They owed him $53 million out the door, though. Over $50 million out the door. Because that's the way it works in college football, where if you don't fulfill your contract or they want to get rid of you early, these are guaranteed deals, and you walk out, still owe that money. Well, the athletic director who did that was also the same person who gave Jimbo Fisher his deal at Texas A&M, and A&M owed 70 plus million to Jimbo Fisher. So this is twice now, 2 coaches that he has hired in the last decade who are owed $120 million in basically dead money. Well, the governor of Louisiana has come in and said, sorry, LSU, the athletic director that you hired, who gave Jimbo Fisher that deal and owed him $70 million to fire him, and gave Coach Kelly that deal and owed him more than $50 million, guess what? Since you're using taxpayer dollars, we're not going to let you pick the next coach. You have shown that you're incapable of picking coaches, so it's not up to you anymore. And the weird thing about this, though, is LSU doesn't have a president. They haven't had a president for a while. So now they're going to have to create a committee to come together to hire a coach. And the governor is saying, we're going to monitor this, and we're going to make sure that it's not a long-term deal. We're not going to be hiring coaches to a 10-year deal anymore. It's going to be a short-term deal. We'll be competitive in the market, but only short-term deals. How difficult do you think it's going to be, Joe, for them to go get a legitimate head coach if they're only going to be offered 3 or 4 year deals and the governor's coming in and taking the power away from the AD?
You know what? Winning makes everything better.
Right.
You know, we can go ahead and get a new head coach. The new head coach turns the program around into true form once again, where they're winning, you know, and everybody's happy because they're continuing to win. They're in that conversation. Are they going to win a chip this year? They're going to be just fine. I just think right now they just got a sour taste in their mouth based on bad decisions. Now, what should happen is the person making those decisions to hire these coaches and then they're getting fired and owed so much money, he needs to be fired. He needs to be given his shine box as well. He's getting a vote of no confidence from the governor right now.
Yeah. And it's weird, though, Mike, for this to be done because, you know, you would never see this at UT because UT has the boosters that could pay off whatever needs to be paid off. Texas, for the state of Texas, is a rich state. Louisiana is poor. You know that the second that you drive past Orange, Texas, and you get into past the Sabine River and you are in Louisiana, you are basically in a poor state. And he's basically saying, look, these aren't just dollars that come out of nowhere. They come from the state. And we're tired of this happening. And he goes, this AD has done this twice. This is a pattern of his. What do you think about a government official like the governor stepping in on college sports? Because he's saying, hey, it's in our purview because it's tax dollars.
Let me say this first, because I heard something earlier, winning and thinking about the conference that they're in the SEC. Let's be honest, you're signing a 1 or 2, 3 max year deal. If you can't win down there, you're not staying past that anyway, right? Yeah. You have to win 8+ games a year down there, or they're going to let you go. That's just the expectation. I fully agree. Look, my wife's from New Orleans, visit every now and then. The product that the NCAA is putting out for football and how much money is in and around football itself is ridiculous. But that state is not seeing the benefits from it. And thinking about letting somebody go while still owed $50 million, it's just incredible, right? It's just incredible, especially when he's already shown that he can produce, right? It's not like they let go of just any old coach that they were trying or gave somebody a shot from a high school, right? And you're getting rid of them. You're letting go of a coach that has shown that he can produce in the toughest league. However, thinking about government oversight, yes, there needs to be something put in place to where you're making better deals. And Joe said it, you shouldn't be doing deals of that magnitude if you're not expecting to keep the guy around for a while. But just the thought of the trickle down effect of having government oversight at a university for hiring and firing, it just seems like it's almost like a stretch to me, right? And maybe it's because I've lived in Texas too long, where we do have, I mean, you know, it almost feels like one guy will just write a check and be like, go get us a new coach, right? Yeah. maybe I'm a little bit spoiled in that aspect of thinking about it, but it's just like, how could a government entity be comprising or gathering people around to kind of to do the next coaching search? It just seems like it's a far reach, and it shouldn't be happening at that level. But I get it. When you're talking about those amounts of monies at the state level, somebody is going to want to make sure that there's some kind of oversight. And I guess they're like, we're going to step in and do it this time.
Yeah, Jesse A reaches out to us in our chat powered by P.F. Chang's La Cantera saying, best job in the country is congressman and fired head football coach.
You know, everybody's getting mad right now in the chat because
Yeah, we have a
a
sniper.
Heat fan in the mix.
Yeah,
here.
people think that it's what's his face, Drew's.
It could
coming back
be.
in.
It could be. So we'll go ahead and take care of that. Give me a minute. We'll continue.
We have some Heat fans coming into the chat. And I don't know if they're Heat fans or they're just trying to troll us when it comes to it all, Mike. But
Probably
I
a little both.
found that to be interesting. No, so LSU, Brian Kelly was a bad coach to begin with because he had no ties to the state of Louisiana. He had no ties to SEC football. They just brought him in from Notre Dame thinking that was enough for them to do it. But it's about the relationships developed with high school coaches, high school athletic directors, the JUCOs and all that stuff. He didn't have it, and they're not a bad team, but they're not as good as they used to be. So, but then again, Joe Burrow brought them a chip like 5 years ago, so it's kind of hard to complain to LSU or cry about it. World Series Game 5 was yesterday, Joe. Joe, you know I don't like baseball. I like going to baseball games. If I go to an Astros game or Rangers game or a Dodgers game, I have fun. But to watch it on TV, no thank you. But last night, went to Chica's mom's house, and she watches sports. My future mother-in-law watches sports 24/7, Mike. Just sports nut.
You got lucky.
It is good. And my fiance is a former college athlete herself. She played college softball. So that being said, we're over there watching the game, and the first two at-bats, home runs by the Blue Jays, back-to-back home runs. It was the first pitch of the game was a home run. Third pitch of the game was a home run. It was the first time in World Series history that a baseball game, a World Series game, started with back-to-back home runs. Blue Jays ended up winning that game 3-2. It's now going back to Toronto for the final two games, so Game 7 if necessary over there. Mike, who are you cheering for, man? The Blue Jays or the Dodgers, or do you even care?
So I'm going to be honest with you. I'm kind of like you. I am not a huge baseball fan. Watching it on TV is hard. My family is originally from Atlanta. I do cheer for the Braves when they're winning. When they're losing, I don't mention it, right? My best friend is from LA. He's been out here for 30 years, but he still roots for the Dodgers. And if I didn't say that in this scenario, I'm going for the Dodgers, I probably wouldn't hear from them for about a month or two, especially if they lose. So I'm going to say I'm going for the Dodgers, just not a huge baseball fan.
I know. It's funny. I have family that's in LA. My cousin threw out the first pitch for the Dodgers just 3 months ago because he was named Firefighter of the Year in the city of Los Angeles. So he got to throw out the first pitch. It was a dream come true for him. He's working the games over there. Any major disaster that goes on, he runs it, for the LA Fire Department over there. So it's pretty cool. But I go over there, and my family's all about the Dodgers, man. They sit there and watch every single game as intensely as we watch Spurs games, or Cowboy fans watch Cowboy fans. They watch it all. I don't know how you can do it. It's so slow. But I love going to the games. I enjoy going to the Missions games. I enjoy going to Astros and Rangers games. I enjoy it when I'm there because you take it all in. The last game I went to was an Astros game. The Astros won in the bottom of the ninth. Ohtani hit a home run earlier in the day, so I got the best of both worlds. The Astros won, and I got to see Ohtani hit a home run. That was amazing. But aside from that, man, I just can't do it. But what was interesting watching these games was yesterday seeing the names of the players from the Blue Jays. It was like the son of Vlad Guerrero, the son of was it Dante Bichette, the son of. It's like the Blue Jays have like 3 or 4 players that are whose fathers were in the big leagues. I find that to be pretty interesting. But Mike, I want to ask you questions about your life growing up. I know we talked to you about a year ago, but you have fond memories of growing up as the son of a Spur player. How life was a little bit different. And when you look back on it, Do you have kids yourself right now?
I do. Yes. I've got 2 girls at home, and then I've got an adult woman that calls me stepdad. It still blows my mind, right? I'm like, how did I get this old?
Well, what are your fondest memories of growing up as Spurs royalty, if you will?
So one of the best things about that I can remember about growing up is actually Hemisphere Arena. Like it's crazy to think about all the beer getting around, the locker rooms not looking anything like they do now. Having the actual physical media trucks have to be there on site plugged in to get any kind of signals out, and me tripping over the cords as a kid. But those are so, I mean, as soon as you walked in, you could smell popcorn and beer, and you just knew that something fun was about to go down, right? And then actually growing up, this is crazy, and I'm going to admit this to y'all. The police here in town are huge Spurs fans. And at the age of 16, being pulled over for going too fast, and for them looking at my driver's license and going, Mike Mitchell Jr., and looking at me again, and they said, son, get off this highway but go. It was a beautiful thing, and I had to just be grateful that my dad was who he was, because it did get me out of some of that boy behavior. I'm just going to say at that age, but it was a wonderful thing growing up in and around the city. Like I said, for me, he was just dad, so I didn't know any better on that front. It was just normal life to me. But it's not till I started getting high school and college, really, and then going to some of these banquets and realizing who my dad was in the city, why I got to get away with some of the stuff that I did, but then also why there was a lot of expectation in some of the other areas that I showed up. I was like, I'm just a kid showing up in this area, but they expected a little bit more out of me because of who my father was. So it was good. It was great.
Your dad started his career with the Cleveland Cavaliers, came to the Spurs in the mid 80s, had 4 seasons with the Spurs in which he averaged more than 20 points per game, had a 5th season in which he averaged 19.9. This is why I think his jersey does belong on the Raptors. He was a very, very fine player out there. The best career he had was a 23.4 points per game back in when he was 30 years old, back in 1986. Interesting point. He played with Alvin Robertson back in the day, right? That was the point guard back in the day. I've always said there's certain records that will never be broken. Nolan Ryan's record for the most strikeouts in a career will never be broken. I'm sorry, but 301 steals by Alvin Robertson in 1986 is still the record. It's been almost 30 years, 40 years. I don't think that'll ever be broken. 301 steals in one season. Remarkable.
Have you seen Alvin live, or did you ever get to walk by him?
Yeah.
So one thing that people take for granted, his upper body strength, like you could look at him and just see it, right?
He was built like an ant.
He really was. But he could take advantage of that in the era he played in, right? As a guard, being able to use that physicalness and being able to put your hands on people. I'd say about 150 of those steals, he just angle you towards the sideline and be like, you've got one place to go, dribble the ball again, and I'm going to take, and he would, right?
Yeah.
Not to mention being able to read the passing lanes and everything like that. I agree. It'll be tremendously difficult in today's NBA with the way that they call the game, which I get it. I'm a fan of too, because I want to see some offense, but it would be super hard to break that record. Alvin, I even got the chance after he retired to play with him. And the funniest thing is you're playing pickup games and everybody out there is trying to score, and he's still out there playing defense all over the court. And I'm like, Alvin, you're 40 years old. We're trying to have fun. Like, stop playing so much defense. But he just couldn't help himself. A tremendously gifted athlete. But if you allowed him to get his hands on you with that strength, forget about it. In today's NBA, they just don't play like that anymore.
Now, that record was broken in the 85-86 season, 301 steals for Alvin Robertson. The closest anyone has gotten since then was in 89. John Stockton had 263. Back in 88, Michael Jordan, you may have heard of him, had 259. Yeah. It's amazing. For the most steals in a single season in the NBA, Alvin Robertson is number 1, number 6, number 8, and number 10. People don't forget how how talented he was. If you want to buy the Shut Up Gina shirts, sorry for the alleged misogyny there, Mike. I've been accused of that, but I tell people we're not going after her because she's a woman. We're going after her because she's against the Spurs. The shirt's up for sale on our fourth wall, so you can hit the QR code and go check that out as well. Mike, tell us about your playing days, man. What are your fond memories about when you played ball?
I think so I got to play high school, college, got to play overseas a little bit, down in Mexico a little bit. One of the best things about playing basketball is you've got some guys, some that are in your corner. I tell people I don't necessarily miss the practices, right? I don't miss the up and down. Don't miss the shooting. Definitely don't miss running after practice. But I do miss the guys, right? Locker room, hanging out, taking trips, right? You're traveling, if you're playing for 6-7 months, you're traveling 3-4 of those months of that year. And knowing that you're going places and you've got this set group of guys and y'all are going to make fun of each other. Some jokes, some stuff that I can't repeat on air taking place. And there are a few guys right now that are taking things to their graves, and we all know we're going to do it, right? I do miss that. Some of my best memories actually come in some tough moments. I'll give you just a quick story. I was playing over in Mexico. I was playing in the Limebo Coastal League. Beautiful being able to travel up and down the coast, and we were actually in a championship game. And I picked game 3 to have like my worst game of the series, right? I could not buy a bucket, couldn't throw it in the ocean. And it was literally like 100 yards from where we were playing. And it comes down towards the end of the game and I get fouled and I have to go to the free throw line. And I'm sitting here like I hadn't been able to make anything all game. Why'd they have to foul me, right? Of course. I go to the free throw line and I make the shots. And we end up winning the game by like 3 points. I think I still might have the news article. The next day in the paper, they don't talk about the fact that I was like 3 for 21. They just said Mike Mitchell steps to the line and knocks 2 free throws down for us to win. It was beautiful. Thank goodness we went on to win that championship that year, and that team got promoted to their higher league, LMVP. And so anytime I go back to the city, I'm greeted very warmly. They love me down there. I love how fans are in other countries. We've got some tremendous fans here in San Antonio, and I think they fit in other countries. But those are just some of the memories that kind of stick with you. Thank goodness the other American on my team, you're allowed a certain amount. Thank goodness he was able to play that game, because if not, that story might not have turned out so positive.
So I didn't realize they had like soccer relegation over there in Mexican basketball leagues. What's it like playing outside of the U.S.? What's the fandom like? What did you get from the crowd out there?
That word fan was probably developed overseas. I remember my first time seeing that as a kid growing up when my dad actually went overseas. He played another 11 years after he left the NBA, 10 years, 11 years. And I remember showing up to a stadium that could only hold about 7,000 people. And I remember coming in, walking around before the game, not a lot of people there, being like, oh, this is a small place. It'll probably be okay. By the time the game started, I was looking for earmuffs. And I mean, inside arenas, you see the soccer games where people are painted body paint and they have the big drums and they're beating it. They do that inside basketball arenas overseas, right? And it was crazy to me because I don't care. I've visited several arenas in the NBA, and there's nothing that can compare to Hemisphere, in my opinion. But even thinking about Frost and how ruckus we can get at times when the Spurs are doing well. And I tell you, if you ever want to just see some fans, go to a basketball, go to a soccer game in another country. I remember being in a city where I stayed like 2 miles from the soccer arena, and on game day, I could feel it in my apartment overseas. It was just that electric. You could literally feel the excitement coming from the stadium. It shake the buildings. It's just wow.
I have to segue off of that, by the way. Talk about shaking the building. There'll be very little shaking going on at the Alamo Dome because we're not expecting a lot of fans tonight at the UTSA football game against Tulane. Joe, on my Twitter account, I posted an interview that was done with Tulane's head football coach, who accused UTSA and the Alamo Dome of cheating Did you hear about this, Mike?
I did not.
Okay, this is going to be a nationally televised game on ESPN. Tulane favored by 4.5 points. UTSA is a better team at home. They've been playing miserably
I see.
this year, but they're being accused of cheating, and I found that to be interesting. If we could find a grade, if not, it's no big deal.
No, I got you here.
This is the
I have
head
to
coach-
take care of some. We've had the Heatles fan, aka Drew Shaw, or whatever he wants to call himself, being a troll. So I had to take care of that.
Okay, no problem. Let's hear what this head coach of Tulane had to say. Basically, he's talking about UTSA's crowd and how it's absurdly loud to the players from the opposing teams.
There we go.
We'll have it back out. I learned I don't want to address the stuff with our team in the season very much. So my way of addressing it to them is looking in them eye and looking them in the eye and going, "Hey, no distractions. Everybody good? Good. Let's freaking get ready for practice." I'm not distracted by any of it. I'm trying to go 1-0.
The distractions talking about here is
That's it.
him being as a contender for
Nobody
the
in
LSU
conference
job.
has gone into that place and gone 1-0 in 5 years. That's got my focus fully.
They're noisy there. I mean, it's noisy in that stadium.
Yeah.
Can you address that?
Yeah, we've practiced with crowd noise for a couple of days. Today was a walkthrough day, so we didn't. We'll have it back out tomorrow. I think they pipe some noise in. I think they do a good job. They do. If you watch like the European soccer or whatever, and they got those little sticks people bang, they got those things in the stadium. So they make some artificial noise, kind of like at Mississippi State. You play, they got the cowbell. It's a way to create more noise. I think they may pipe some in through the speakers. I don't really know. I don't think it's legal. I don't think anybody's investigating it. We just got to be ready to deal with it. So we should be prepared for it, hopefully. But I think that's helped them create a home field advantage for sure. It's been loud there for people.
You mentioned.
Okay, so that's LSU. That's Tulane's head coach accusing the Alamo Dome and UTSA of piping in noise. Do you think UTSA is a bunch of cheaters? This is kind of reminiscent of the Astros with the banging of the trash cans. What are your thoughts on Tulane's head coach calling UTSA a bunch of cheaters?
Yeah, I was going to say, y'all remember when Phil Jackson, before they would play another team, would come out and be like, "Oh, they're getting all the calls all season long. Everything's always going their way." And then they play either the Bulls or the Lakers, and that team would get no calls that game. I feel like he's just kind of setting it up, saying it, throwing it out there, like, and yeah, they're piping it in. So now everybody's going to be paying attention to how loud it is versus everything else that's going on with the football game. I've been to a few UTSA football games this year. I don't think they're piping in sound. Maybe if they are, I don't see it giving them enough advantage to even be worth talking about. They do play well at home. Typically, when you're a team that's on the fence, you play better at home. You don't play as good on the road. I don't think that that's a far-fetched thing. But it's kind of funny to hear him talking about that. Even when you're favored, you're talking about crowd noise. And then you say how other teams are doing it too, just kind of casually. Oh, well, other teams are doing it too, but crowd noise down there sets them up for an alibi, though, if they don't play as well as they should, right? Well, it was the noise that was throwing us off today.
Again, the Spurs are going to be on FanDuel TV. At the same time, ESPN is going to be showing the UTSA Tulane game. I'm looking at the price of tickets on SeatGeek, including the fees. You can get into the building for $9.
Dang.
Including the fees. $9 gets you in. $8 gets you in the section 202. If you want to be down low, do you want to be on the 40-yard line, including fees, third row, $46.
It's not
Man,
bad.
Joe, second row, first row in the end zone, $9.
That's nothing. Mike's like, I might have to drive back to San Antonio.
It's more for a beer, baby. More for a beer. That's crazy. That's absolutely insane. But UTSA, again, they need to get this win. I'm going to set the over-under at 8,000 fans. People are going to watch the Spurs games, man. Spurs game. It's a Thursday night game. People don't like going on Thursdays. There's no tailgate that I'm expecting. It'll be, 5 people tailgating on a Thursday night? But no, man. Joined by Mike Mitchell Jr. Mike, what are you working on these days, man?
So I'm at United Way, still just trying to help the community. You asked me about my children earlier. I got into some early childhood work when after having my middle child, my daughter, and have been doing that. So now, really, we've got a new initiative, Help Me Grow, which is connecting parents in and around the city to services. A lot of times people think of United Way and they think of us helping people that are less fortunate, but we actually don't have income restrictions on a lot of our services. We've got mental health services. We've got parenting services. We provide things that come with no income restraints attached. So Help Me Grow, like I said, is one of the large things that we're trying to promote right now. I work directly with that director, and we're just trying to get the word out. It's a pretty new program, so we're trying to get the word out to people. If you've got a child 0 to 5 in your house and you're just looking for any kind of resources, they can connect you to it. And then if your child is over 5, right now they're willing to work with you and try to help you and see if they can get you what you're looking for. So still trying to help the community. That is a legacy that was set in me with my father. A lot of people don't know, after he finished with the Spurs and finally retired from overseas, he started his own nonprofit, really giving back, working with boys in and around the east and the west side of town. I told him as a young man, I was like, I'm not doing that work when I get older. I've seen what you went through. And then, of course, I run right back to it as soon as I start working professionally. So that's what I'm doing these days, just trying to help give back. I work with about 60 of our community nonprofits in our coalition in and around early childhood, prenatal moms, because we know it starts there, to early childhood. It sounds funny even now sometimes for me to say that, because that is not where I pictured my life being or working with. But you start doing numbers and you figure out if you can help moms and give them the resources that they need, then it's going to help baby as they're born, and they're going to in turn have a better, healthier life as they grow up. So that's the work, and that's the focus for me right now, most days, alongside, of course, working with my children, then finding some time. I still love little hobbies. So I still play video games, build Legos when I get a chance. I've got tons of little collectibles. I guess when you play a kid's game as an adult, it doesn't go too far, but I've got to be mature on the other side, or the wife's putting.
I look at everybody.
Let-
Mike Mitchell Jr., they want him on as a permanent guest now.
well, let me ask you this: a little get to know you segment, real fast. What are you streaming on Netflix, or what TV show have you last binged?
So it's funny, given our political climate down here, and you guys know I'm not going to weigh in too hard on certain things because but actually on Netflix, oh my gosh, I just forgot the name of the show. It's actually a political show where it focuses in and around a female lead character where she's an ambassador. I can't think of the name of it, but I've just started streaming that show. It's got 3 seasons of it, and I was like, just one of those things where I sat down and I'm like, I need background noise. And the next thing I know, I've watched 3 episodes straight, and it's 11:30 at night, and I need to go to sleep so I can get up the next day. Oh man, I wish I could tell you what name it is. And then I got a recommendation for Task.
Oh yeah, Task.
Yeah.
And so I watched the first episode, and I was like, dang it, why do I get hooked on another show while I'm watching a different one? So now I've got 2 shows that I can't watch with the kids awake that I've got to find time to watch after they go to sleep. So yeah, Task I just started.
You know which one else is good on Netflix? Night Watch. If you like spy espionage kind of thing, that one's really good.
Okay.
Very good. Like, I really recommend it. I can't really say a lot, but there's a reason why I like it so much. But go and watch it.
Okay. Night Watch.
I'll throw out the recommendation, and I'm gonna get hate for this, but Ginny and Georgia seasons 1 through 3 are out. That was a very, very, very good show. It's still on. It's going on to season 4, which is gonna be next year. Last night, the fiance fell asleep in my arms, and I couldn't reach the remote. And she had put on a movie that within 15 minutes she'd already fallen asleep. But if I wake her up, she's gonna get upset, right? So I'm there forced to watch a movie that I did not want to watch, and it's the number 9 movie on Netflix, a 20-year-old movie that had awful reviews and for good reason. Premonition with Sandra Bullock. I don't know if have you seen that movie? It's about a woman who has a premonition that her husband's gonna die in a car accident.
I saw it a while back. It did not stick.
Mike, like you like some bad movies, Mike. He's
it was
like
so
this,
bad.
Mike.
It was so bad.
Mike Mitchell Jr. You got to understand how Mike is. If it's a good movie, he usually doesn't like it. Oh, it wasn't that good. I didn't like it. It was boring. I hated it. If it's a mediocre movie, it's like Mike's like me. I like it, you know?
Well,
Or if it's an old movie, he's gonna be like old movies, like stuff that you would have watched growing up as a child. Mike's like, I never heard of it. I never saw it. I didn't watch TV.
well, okay. So what I get amazed by is like you go to the top 10 list on Netflix. How do these old movies get into the top 10 out of nowhere? Just last month, the number one movie on Netflix last month was San Andreas with The Rock.
Oh wow.
And that movie is 10 years old.
It's a popcorn flick, just like Rampage with
No,
The Rock. Also,
I
you
get
know?
that, but how did everybody in mass as a country go, you know what? Let's all watch San Andreas. It's 20, like The Day After Tomorrow was a few months ago. That movie is 15 years old. It's just so weird how everyone gravitates towards one movie and decides that we're going to get nostalgic about this one movie. It's just really weird. But Ginny and Georgia was good. It was a chick flick. It's a chick show, but it's fine. It's fine. Guys can get into it. It's not that bad. Not that
I
bad.
wonder if it's when Netflix drops. You know how every now and then they drop those old movies, and I wonder if people just don't want to search, and so they're just like, it's in the top bar. Let's just see what goes on
See
here.
what this is.
Yeah. Hey, we're gonna have to go ahead and bring the show to an end because Mike's gonna have to go ahead and get on out of here. But before we do, I just wanted to show this as a feel good for everybody because it is Thursday. It's getting closer to the weekend. Look at what Darian Fox did. That was great. He showed up out there to that new court that they have over there by Hemisphere in the Hemisphere Park arena area, and he handed out his signature shoes to the people that were playing basketball at the court, pickup game or what have you. And they had already said it. You know, Jacoby, one of the Spurs announcers there, you know, that announces the game with Sean Elliott. He had said, "Hey, you might want to be at this court at 5 p.m." He didn't say he was going to go, and lo and behold, De'Aaron Fox shows up, hands out his signature shoes to the lucky people that were out there. Thought it was a nice gesture, took pictures and everything, giving back. So just another reason that you're going to love De'Aaron Fox.
He fits in, right? Spurs have always had guys that are willing to do that throughout the years. And I just love that. That is a perfect way to kind of close the show down. That is something that we want to keep around, right? I'll just leave it at that. We've been fortunate enough. Yeah, any team, guys are guys. We're going to have some knuckleheads come through, but more so than not, we've got great people that become Spurs players. So I love that.
Spurs back in action tonight, hoping to go 5-0. There's 2 days left of early voting. Again, you can vote for Prop A, vote for Prop B if you'd like to. More than 100,000 people have already voted so far, which is more than the mayoral election back in June. It's going to be interesting how this all transpires over the course of the next week or so. But again, early voting's open till 7 o'clock tonight. There's locations all over. You can go to Bear County's website to find your closest polling station. Mike Mitchell Jr., thank you so much for being with us today. We look forward to having you on in the near future again as the Spurs season unfolds. You can always be in person. You can do it remotely, whatever is best for you when it comes to it all. But thank you for being on with us today.
I appreciate y'all having me back. It was a blast.
Yeah,
and
it's always good to have him in.
And support the United Way, right? Is it the San Antonio United Way? Is there a website that we can donate at? What website do we go to?
UWSATX.org.
UWSATX.org. Very nice. Very nice. Well, that's Mike Mitchell Jr., the son of Spurs great Mike Mitchell, my favorite player growing up, number 34, baby. I'll never forget, man. That was Linton Elementary School. I'll never forget. Your dad was my favorite. And it's nice to see that his son grew up to be a very, very good man, caring man who's part of the community as well. And Joe, go Spurs, go. No, Gina, no.
Yeah. Shut up, Gina. I got my shirt.
We'll be back. We'll be back tomorrow. Hopefully the Spurs are 5-0 back then.